What do I appreciate? Now, here's what happens, and again, because of our time limitations today, I mean, we actually have a luxurious 3 hours of mission time together, but it's not it's not 8 hours, it's not 2 days. So I'm going to just tell you that if I had you list 12 traits, for example, and then I asked you to share it with the person next to you. In other words, you know what, you can't afford a restaurant, you need a partner. Share your traits. Can you imagine what happens with the two lists? They're full of synonyms. They're full of words like courteous and polite, friendly and personable. This is a point I made earlier. You can work side by side with people for years and work in synonyms because you haven't had a system that has asked you to say, what do you actually mean by success? What are you actually after? And sometimes, think about it, if you have a long-term colleague where you sometimes feel like you're going like this or you're sort of not quite in sync, I believe it's because you are operating in synonyms in important matters where you're actually trying to create something slightly different from each other because you haven't had the tool, the rubric, that says specifically, what are we after here? What does good work look like? How would we know it if we saw it? How could we get feedback on it? Well, if you have sort of friendly and courteous, for example, the rubric says, well, which do we mean? And it asks you to say, well, what are the friendly? And it forces you to decide together what language you're going to use. And that becomes the language of your feedback system. I'll show you what happens and why rubrics as a tool are so helpful. Let's imagine that one of the traits was knowledgeable. You want your waiters to be knowledgeable. And so you start filling in descriptive language. The waiter knows the menu, what's fresh, what the chef's specialties are, wines, basic knowledge about what's going on in the city. See, I just placed my restaurant in the city. Now, if this is what I'm after, I would never leave it up to chance. In other words, I'm not going to say with no system at all, well, some of my waiters are going to know this stuff and some aren't. Some are going to be good and some are going to be bad. No, I'll go, if it matters that they know what the chef's specialties are, the chef comes out and talks to all the waiters. The goal is not to sort good from bad, it's to raise the level of excellence. This is why we get confused about assessment. Because the big assessments, like SATs, are not about helping everybody. They're about sorting. They're about sorting kids for a scarce resource. Who gets to go to Stanford, right? That's not what this is about. This is about, I want all my waiters to be excellent. So you do this, and then you go, okay, fine, draft, right, draft across the top. And then you say, gosh, are there any stories I can tell here? Any little examples that can help me? And so you add these things that are called indicators. Examples is an easier word. Sir, I particularly recommend the duck. Chef Henri grew up in the Loire Valley where they eat duck 3 meals a day. Or, oh, you enjoy musicals? We hear the revival of Man of La Mancha is getting standing ovations. So this is the kind of specific stuff that helps you say, oh, that's what it looks like. Now, here is the way rubrics work at their best. Examples come along that affect your thinking about the rubric itself. Let's imagine that I hear one of the waiters go, good evening, Mr. Yingling, welcome back. And I go, nice, Gloria, nice job. And I just realized that she came up with something, a particular piece of knowledge that we hadn't thought of yet, which is what? So I go back to the rubric and I add the names of regular customers. I did that because the rubric's a living document. It holds the conversation about good work, what good work looks like. She just upped the ante. So we all meet as waiters and I go, hey, Gloria said, good evening, Mr. Yingling, welcome back. That's really cool. What other regular customers do? And Mary Jane says, well, there's that guy who wears a plaid shirt. And Martha goes, I know him, he lives on my street. His name is Jenkins. And so, and I think he comes in on Tuesday nights. So it happens to be Tuesday night, and Natalie's at the desk, and the plaid shirt walks in, and she goes, "Hello, Mr. Jenkins, welcome back. Gloria will be your server." Gloria comes over, "Oh, hello, Mr. Jenkins." And he goes, "This is the best restaurant in the world." And I just say to you again, it's not because these people were suddenly more moral, smarter, better people. They were in an assessment system. It's amazing how an assessment system that is based not on outsiders, but your own sense of what you're trying to do, elevates your work. You have to create the time to literally create the system. You need mission time. So I'm sort of asking you, I'm going to ask you what you think your own rubric should look like. I'm going to give you a couple of examples from some organizations that have started like this and then actually built out a rubric that has completely changed what they do. But let's take a 10-minute break.